Touchdown, Alabama, let's get it.
The process, no one can stop this. Hottest show in the streets, I bet you can't top this. Rammer, jammer, yellow hammer, come see how we rock this. Alabama fans the best, there's no way you can top this. Recruiting news and interviews, just sit back and watch this.
Recruiting news and interviews, just sit back and watch this.
The process.
Welcome into The Process, Crimson Tide Recruiting. I am your host, Justin Smith, the scouting and recruiting analyst for Touchdown Alabama magazine. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. We are back for a new episode of The Process. It is Thursday, which means this is the last episode of the week, but you guys can check out The Process every Tuesday and Thursday evening right here on Touchdown Alabama's YouTube page. On this episode, I actually want to catch up with Todd McVay, the head coach of Tunmise High School in Katy, Texas, which is the home of the Tide's 2021 four-star quarterback commit, Jalen Milroe, who had a huge game on Thursday night. We'll talk about Milroe's performance, also talk about Tunmise Adeleye, one of the Tide's top remaining targets and a former player of McVay at Tunmise High School. So we are going to dive right into my conversation with McVay today on The Process. So with that being said, let's get the process started. It is a pleasure to be joined by Coach Todd McVay, the head coach of the undefeated Tunmise Falcons, who picked up a huge win on last Thursday night over Katy High School, a 24-19 win that ended Katy's 75-game district winning streak. I know this was a huge win for you, Coach, but the Alabama commit and your quarterback, Jalen Milroe, threw for 3 touchdowns in that performance. What did you see from Milroe in that game?
Well, I think it was all leading up to the game. His preparation that week was outstanding, as it always is. But I think the bigger the game, the more prepared he becomes. I think that the work he's done with the receivers, really showing that leadership with them and showing confidence in them, even if they drop a ball, and in practice to encourage them, and taking the ownership of that and putting it on him instead of the receivers, so the receivers relaxed and just played. But I think that his focus, his energy was really good all week long, and it transcended it to the rest of the offense, right? That's his persona of, just his leadership. Some guys have that it factor, and he has that. And so it came out and it shined very well against a very good football team. And, like I said, he was in that good zone, seeing the field, taking what they could give him, and taking his shots when they were open.
That was a 3-touchdown performance for Milroe on Thursday night, but what are some of the other things that you have seen from Milroe throughout this season? I know you have talked about in the past how productive he has been, the growth he has continued to show. What are some of the things that he has shown throughout his senior season so far?
I think his ability to just, he's growing in the fact that if it's not there, he takes off, which is good, because his legs are another weapon, but with eyes downfield still, right? A lot of guys want to take off, and he's looking for that other receiver and finding him, but, and I think just it's kind of like I have a safety on the other side of defense. They're both so well-versed in what we do now, they just play. It's just reaction now, because they know it so well. And, again, I go back to and he says it too, his preparation is key, because he's done it 1,000 times in practice already. So when he gets in a game, it's an automatic thing, his release, his reads. But just like I said, it's the intangibles in the huddle, the positiveness, the tempo, I always like to say at practice, as he leads the tempo and gets the offense going, which, makes guys want to play harder for you. And I think that's a thing that's happened, is everybody's doing a little extra here and there, the offensive line and receivers. And so I think those are the things that, and again, like we always use the term, he beats on his craft, right? He's always working to perfect his throwing motions. I always say you throw with your feet. Does a great job of doing that as well. So, because with the feet comes the arm, and he does a great job of doing both now.
And before we let you go, Coach, I want to ask you about Tunmise Adeleye, the 2021 four-star defensive end who played with you before he opted out of his senior season, which he was supposed to play at IMG Academy. But what does Adeleye bring to the table as a football player as well as being a young man?
Well, I think the thing he brings is the intensity of that position. He plays with great intensity, I guess is a great word, right? Ferociousness. He just, he's going to demand you to make sure you know where he is on the field. I promise you that. But he's great. He's got great. He's very athletic. He's an athletic defensive end. He's got long arms, so we can keep those guys away from him. And his football IQ is very good. He has a very high football IQ, so he recognizes things, can see when things are coming. Studies film, does all the intangibles of not only using his athleticism, because he works very hard on his craft as well, from his pass rush moves to his reads to squeezing in. It makes he's a tough cookie to block, I guess is what I'm saying. So very good.
That will do it for this episode of The Process, Crimson Tide Recruiting. Thank you guys so much for joining me today on our YouTube page. Before you leave, be sure to hit that like button and also subscribe if you are not. Then head over to touchdownalabama.com. Pick up your subscription today. With that subscription, you will be able to read all of our subscriber-only articles, get your hands on our yearly print magazine issue. Also get a chance to read our in-depth scouting reports on each Tide commit in each recruiting class. Also get a chance to look at our current locks and leans recruiting feature predictions. Be sure to check out all of that with your subscription today. Then head to your Apple App Store or to the Google Play Store if you have an Android device. Be sure to download the Touchdown Alabama app so breaking news notifications about Tide football can be sent to your mobile device. As always, I am Justin Smith, the scouting and recruiting analyst for Touchdown Alabama magazine.
Process.